Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. Just a reaction in light of Jerry Sandusky's conviction on almost all of the counts that were brought against him by the 10 victims that have come forward, and I have no doubt that there are many more, that were subjected to his horrifying fucking sexual abuse. It should be noted also that his son came out during the trial, his adopted son, and said that he in fact was abused himself. This person is incredibly sick and fucking demented. Quite obviously by his commentary in interviews, he has a very twisted and sick mentality, and I am so happy to see that this jury came back with his verdict. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the motherfucker can fucking rot in fucking jail, because if there's two fucking things that I cannot stand and that really fucking get in my fucking gut, and that is people that abuse fucking animals and people that abuse children. Two completely innocent and fucking defenseless fucking things on the goddamn earth. And people who abuse them and destroy their fucking innocence and take away from them something that's theirs. It makes me fucking sick, and it makes me very fucking mad. So I'm glad to see him get whatever the fuck he gets when he gets sent to prison. The only thing I'll be pissed off about is if they decide to send him to some sort of fucking halfway house fucking prison and give him some kind of coddling in there, or maybe put him in administrative detention where he doesn't get to mix with the other people in the fucking prison, the ones that hate him just as much as the rest of fucking society. Now, the other question, of course, is how far are they going to go in their pursuit of this fucking rat's nest of fucking depravity that has infested Penn State, and which I contend infests every fucking place in this motherfucking country where children organize for any fucking purpose, whether it be athletics, anything. It doesn't fucking matter. How far are they going to go? It seems quite clear that this Curley and Spanier and some of these other people who are in charge of Penn State knew and covered up for what was going on. They basically just, at one point, I guess, they said, you know what, Jerry, if you're going to fuck some kids in our fucking school, please don't do it in the school. Go fuck them at your house. This is the mentality that we have in our society today, where you can turn a blind eye and basically say, yeah, I know you're raping kids. Could you just maybe not do it around me so I don't have to see it? What the fuck? For real. So they might have to throw a couple more people under the bus in this one. But as to getting to the root of it, that's another question, and it remains to be seen. And of course, it will be cut short from where it needs to go. And that's into the Pennsylvania government. That's probably into the federal government. And that probably branches out into a lot of other charitable organizations and other schools, and would turn into a nationwide scandal. And I guarantee it's not going to go there. Of course, the Supreme Court has made a couple rulings where they basically said that Montana cannot restrict campaign financing by corporations in their state because it goes against the Citizens United decision. And so we've also seen that they have struck down part of the Arizona law, which would seek to have police enforcing immigration laws in that state. They did uphold some portion of it. And of course, later on this week, they'll be making a ruling on the so-called Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, and decide whether or not the individual mandate is constitutional. You know, seeing the activity of the Supreme Court over the last many years, The only thing that I can say about them is that they are a bunch of fucked up motherfucking fuckheads. And their ideology cannot be explained by any kind of interpretation of constitutional matters, because it's quite clear that they completely ignore basic reality. In the majority opinion which struck down the Montana law, they had the temerity to say that there was no, not even an appearance of corruption as a result of campaign finance money. Can you give me a fucking break? Not even an appearance of it? That has got to be the most ludicrous thing that you could say in that situation. And that just goes to show you that this Supreme Court is filled with a bunch of fucking lunatics. And it shouldn't be surprising that the Supreme Court of the United States is completely fucked up, just like the rest of the fucking government. Completely fucked up. Fast and Furious is still in the news. A contempt of Congress violation looms for Eric Holder, but his buddy Obama decides to use executive privilege. What seems to be lost on a lot of people, and I don't agree with what he's doing, you know, but he can do it. He has to. The only thing he has to do is present a written thing to Congress explaining that this is covered under the executive privilege. Of course, they can challenge that if they choose. But he does have the right as president to do that in this particular case. So like it or not, it is within his power to do so. So there are a lot of people that are claiming that this is tantamount to him saying that he's guilty in all of this, and he very well might be. Certainly there's a great deal of indication that shows that Eric Holder knew about this. But, you know, the entire idea of Fast and Furious is being used as a pretext by the right wing to try and paint Obama as some sort of gun-grabbing leftist, communist, fucking infiltrator of the goddamn government. And the latest stuff that's coming out now, being promoted by Alex Jones, of course, another one of these right-wing shills, because that's all he ever does is shill for the right, is the idea, once again, that Obama's real father is Frank Marshall Davis. And, of course, this lends into the entire conspiracy theory, which I have completely fucking deconstructed for you already, time and time again. That Obama is some kind of Marxist plant that's just waiting for his time to exert his communistic takeover of the country. Fuck you, you stupid motherfucking idiots. He is so far from a fucking communist that you can't even see one from the other's fucking position. This guy is a bought and paid for Wall Street fucking stooge. And they have no truck with communism or Marxism in the classical sense, in the dictionary definition of the term, because I know all these terms get spun and twisted around every which possible fucking way, just like liberal and Republican and right and left. It doesn't matter. None of those terms have any meaning in this system that we're in right now. You know, everybody who's running for office is beholden to somebody who's paying their fucking bills. It doesn't matter if they're an independent. You have a libertarian candidate running for office now. And when you look at his platform, it's basically Ron Paul's platform. Destroy every social program in the entire history of the United States. Make sure everybody's thrown out on their ass. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps and get on down the road with yourself. Well, never mind that the economy is destroyed and you have nothing, no job, and no prospects for any fucking future. Let's just cut and gouge everything. So, the libertarian candidate, what's his name, Gary Johnson? No fucking good. his economic proposals are total lunacy. You know, it's quite obvious that he buys into this entire austerity program, which is basically an offshoot of Austrian economics. And it's bullshit, all of it. It's total fucking crap. And as I said to somebody else before, you can't have any kind of libertarian ideology with any state. With any state. It doesn't matter how minuscule it is. You can't do it. It just can't work. And when you have a state is designed, well, let me rephrase that. A state should be there for the preservation of the nationhood of the country. And one of the primary focuses of the state itself should be the preservation of the liberties of the people. But more so, it should be about defending the weak and those who cannot do for their fucking selves. That's why you have social programs in a state. Now, if you want to live in anarchy, you can have libertarianism out your fucking ass. And believe me, I have many libertarian positions, including ending the war on drugs and legalizing drugs, especially marijuana, as soon as possible. I have many libertarian positions, but the fact of the matter is, whenever you get into a social milieu, and I hate to use that word, but whenever it is expanded into the idea of a community where you have a basic idea of organization and some kind of structure, it has to fall apart. And when it comes to economic issues, it's complete garbage. It's complete garbage because it falls right into that Ayn Randian bullshit, which has given us what we have today. Which, you'll be happy to know, the United States is number one. Yes, we are. By God, we're number one. You know what we're number one in? We're number one in the distance between the average worker's pay and that of the CEO of the company that he works for. Yes, by God, we're number one. We have the most massive gap between the CEO pay and the basic worker pay of the corporations in this motherfucking shithole cesspit of a fucking corporate country. So yes, we are number one in some things, like killing people, imprisoning people. Let's see, I guess it's all the bad stuff, but you know, at least we're number one, right? And that's something to be proud of. So wear your corporate United States of America flag, which all I have to do is remind you yet again, go back and look at the East India Company flag and compare it to our flag, and, you know, tell me if you see much difference. So, you know, the Fast and Furious thing, the Frank Marshall Davis thing, you know, this is all bullshit, and it's all... Most of it is being designed by the people behind Obama to stir up the right wing, to stir up the zealots, to stir up the idiots and the morons who are coming at this from the right wing, who actually buy into this bullshit about a secret communist conspiracy to take over the government. No, it's a secret right-wing conspiracy to take over the government, but it's being run by a fake empty suit candidate that has a legend behind him, just like any CIA asset does anywhere around the world. A fake history, totally made up. So he appears to be one thing, and he's really something else altogether. So expect more lunacy. Expect more craziness, because that's all we get. And if you're still listening to people like Alex Jones, all he does is regurgitate the same thing. Something that I've debunked and completely deconstructed many times right here. And he falls for every one of these things. And if he's not falling for it, and he's just putting it out there because people want to hear it, then is he telling anybody the fucking truth? I don't think so. So get a clue. Thank you. Good night.